So one of the things that is happening is a collaboration between AusHelp and Mates in Construction around apprentices, and we want to launch a new program. So two of the best looking blokes in the room are not going to be launching it. We've actually got Jorgen and Tony. So I'll ask Jorgen and Tony to come forward, and I'll ask Karen if she can come up to the stage as well.
About 2 years ago, I came to Queensland to have a conversation with my friends at Mates Construction, and fairly early in my days at AusHelp, I realised that all has not been good in the past. There were some troubles in the camp, and so as an attempt to try and sort some issues out, we came and we met, and the main topic of discussion was, what are we going to do about life skills? Life Skills was a product that AusHelp developed about 8 years ago and was delivering for a number of years, and Mates Construction were one of the organisations, along with AusHelp Tasmania, who are delivering Life Skills. And I've got to tell you, it's probably one of the most robust conversations. Even John was quiet. He did not say a lot, but Jorgen and I did. And today, as a result of both of our organisations saying, we need to do this together. We need to agree when we agree when we disagree, and actually value each other's opinions, and get on with the job of doing what we need to do to save lives. Life Skills Toolbox is a product that does and will save lives, and we are very, very excited about the relaunch of our Life Skills, which is now co-owned jointly by AusHelp, AusHelp Tasmania and Mates Construction. And I'll hand over to Jorgen to tell you a little bit about what's actually happened to get us to this point.
Thanks. I think it's easy to say this non-government sector, and we're all chasing the dollar to do the stuff we have, and in a lot of ways we're competitors, but we're actually working for the same cause. And sometimes it's important to actually just think that at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is we're trying to save lives. We're trying to make differences in people's lives that are meaningful. And really, when you compare that with money, it doesn't stack up. Well, so we're really proud to actually launch this collaboration, and that's hopefully one of many going forward, because it meant we were working with Life Skills Toolbox because it was the absolute best practice in the area in our view. It was the best thing to engage with young men, and when it came to talking about basic life skills. But we came to the conclusion over a few years that it probably needed a bit of an update. It needed to come, to just get a bit of a refresher. So we said, well, we're not sort of talking as well as we used to with AusHelp, so maybe we have to do our own. So we started looking at that, and then I had a chat to Tony, and Tony said, well, we're looking at this life skill, and we think it's a little bit tired, and we're starting to try and sort of work on doing our own. So rather than creating two new products to compete with each other, so well, why don't we actually just pool our talents and create a product with the best of what we both got. And they're sitting over there. What I want to do is, in launching the Life Skills Toolbox, it's actually, I want to launch the people who did it. Because Tony and I only did the coffee shop bit. And then, but
holy crap, I don't want to do that again.
But over month and month and month, they've been going at it, sometimes with very low and understanding voices, and sometimes with slightly raised voices, and trying to actually put something together that we both could agree on was best practice. And what I'll do is ask them to actually come up and present to you what's in the Life Skills Toolbox, but also what we expect it's going to do. So thank you.
I took my jacket off so you didn't confuse me with the guy who's comparing. Karen and myself have been working on the Life Skills Toolbox, and at this juncture I really need to honour the work of Brenton Tainch. Where's Brenton? Yeah, Brenton, when we were looking in the early years of Mick at the Life Skills Toolbox, and I'll tell you why we looked at it, it was Brenton who was doing all the legwork. He had done a lot of work with it, and I honour you, Brenton, for the work you did with it and the support you gave us initially to get this running. So thanks, mate. What's the history of it? Sad history. As most of these things, it's not someone has a eureka moment and wakes up the next morning and says, you know what I think I'll do? I think I'll write a life skills toolbox that'll really help apprentices. That's not what happened. There's a cluster of suicides amongst apprentices in Canberra in 2002. And young apprentices. So the mum of one of them, David O'Brien's mum, said this is wrong. This is our industry. And we've got to do something about this because we can't have young blokes taking their lives like this. So she banged the doors of the CFMEU and the MBA, a sort of unholy alliance really. And out of that, AusHelp was born and they do some great work. But one of the things they did early through, I think it was Sean Van Linden and Keith Todd, they wrote the Life Skills Toolbox, which was really over 6 days, a lot of modules, and it was the best go what it was then, and they started. When we started in 2006, we come off the ASREP report, the Australian Institute of Suicide Research and Prevention, and they come through, and it was interesting because our stats were different than what Sue was saying earlier, you know, that the main people are in here. In construction, what they come out with in the ASREP report was that our apprentices are 2.5 times the national average. If you want to look at that in straight construction terms, they're 10 times more likely to die of suicide than they are in accident at work. As a dad with 2 sons who are apprentices, that just wrecks me. So what we did is we looked at the recommendations of the AusREP report, and one of them said you need to teach resilience skills to the young blokes in construction and the young women in construction. Because remember, this is not just a bloke problem. Our problem is risk factors all occurring in the one place. So if you put a woman in there, she's got the same risk factors as the blokes. And so we looked around, and what we found, as Jorgen said, was the good work that AusHelp were doing in Canberra around Life Skills Toolbox. And we, in those days, it was easier to get money out of the government. And with the help of Simone Keynes, who's down there, thank you, Simone, who supported us, we got a grant to do the life skills for a pilot for 3 years. And in that 3 years, we did 800 apprentices. And a number of the people in this room I can see who were part of that. And we had great support, as I said, from Brenton and the people down there for us to run it. And we did some research into it and we found that those 800 apprentices, 1 in 4 of them sought help if they're in the life skills. Some amazing stories that came out of it. But what came out of those reports, and a bit of research we did as well through the Dundas and Barletta report, was that there's some stuff in there that's dated and doesn't need to be in there. There's some stuff that you're doing and keep doing and it's really good. And some stuff is just old. And I identified with old. And they said it needs to be updated a bit, you know. You need to bring it into the 21st century. And so you got the history of the collaboration, and so what happened is that Karen and myself, really with the help of Nev and Tassie and Wayne, pass on our thanks to Nev for the work she did with us in the early days, we rewrote it. And we're just trying to teach, like, shit happens to everyone. You know, no one gets out of it. Like, at some stage in your life, you learn that life's not fair, don't you? The earlier you learn it, the better. So when you get to those bits where it's not fair, you've got to go to your tool bag and pull out something that helps you get through it. That's what the Life Skills Toolbox is about. Let's give them some tools that they can go into their kit and pull it out when their finances are running amok. Or they've got issues with bullying or drug and alcohol, whatever it happens to be, and Karen's going to take you through what we do. That's the whole purpose of it. And the new version, based on good research, it's accredited, we shortened it. So it's 3 days, it's a 24-hour course, not 48 hours. It's accredited, can be delivered in non-accredited terms, and Karen will talk a little bit about the new interface and that we're using. I think I covered most of it. We've already started to pilot it, so those people from the plumbing were out at Services Trade Industry College, I think I got that right, out at Salisbury, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. We're already working with CSTC and some of the labourers there. I know that Karen's already trialled it up in the Pilbara and got some work going on in Canberra. So it's already out there trialling it, and you've got something with it on it, so it's ready to go, and we reckon it works. And we're excited about helping young blokes, and as a dad, I can't tell you how excited I am about making certain that our young blokes get a few tools. And the future of it, Karen will tell you what it is and where we're going with it.
Thanks, John. So what we've done is we've split it into 3 full days or 6 half sessions, and what we're doing is we're able to deliver it flexibly. So we've actually got a Moodle site that we're using. So up till now it's been traditional face-to-face in a classroom environment or at a work site. So what we've done now is developed it so that we could do even face-to-screen or face-to-many screens, because we kept on hearing from people who had numerous sites or remote areas that, you know, how do we get this for our students? And my esteemed CEO, he doesn't like me travelling that much, you see, so he wants me actually in the office a bit more. So he thought, she can do face-to-screen, so we'll put her in the office and then, you know, we'll have the people around at work sites. So we thought that that was also a better way to do it as far as being flexible and fitting in with timelines for people. So what we do is we cover it, as I said, over the 3 days, and we actually do a bit about who we are. And that's a bit also about the supports that are in place. So with IncoLink and with Mates and with AusHelp and AusHelp Tasmania, we actually cover all of Australia. And so then we talk about communication skills, because we see that that is very important. You know, what to do when there's lack of communication on site. What happens with that? How does that then have an impact on the work environment? We talk about active listening, and we say to the guys, you know, did you do this at school? And a lot of them will say, no. So we actually talk about what does it mean to be a good communicator. We also look at what some of those barriers and breakdowns to communication are. But when we do the course, it's not a stand and deliver. It's trying to get the guys engaged. It's asking for their input. What happens? What's their experiences? And can they share that? I've heard a lot through the day about, you know, guys don't talk. We've actually found that if you can create the right environment, they will talk and they will share. So we also look at workplace and intergender communication. So we talk about, you know, if your boss is a lot older, where his values might come from and what he values about work compared to younger generations, and look at those. We also talk about transitioning, so major transition times in your life. So whether it's from school to work and what that might look like, or if it's changing jobs or anything like that, and what happens in a transition period. The whole way through the 3 days we thread resilience, because we see that as very much an important concept, that if we can gain resilience in a lot of these young men when times get tough or when things get, you know, a bit overwhelming. So how do we build those resilient skills through that so that they feel that they have a toolbox of some strategies for when those times might happen? And we also look at their values and beliefs, because for all of us, that's what keeps us where we are. That's how we live our lives. So for them, identifying what those values and beliefs may be for them. We also look at financial literacy and budgeting. Now, this is John's favourite part. He loves the financial lit and the budgeting, because we see a lot of apprentices who get themselves in a lot of financial strife. So it's having an understanding about that, and then we actually go through budgeting with them. And we look at maybe comparing in the group someone who might have a lot of costs compared to someone who might not have one. We look at how we save for things in our lives. We also discuss credit, debit, you know, hire purchase, all of those things. We talk about alcohol and drugs, but also how that has an impact in them in the workplace, and what to do as far as when they might identify with a mate who might be having trouble, where some support services are. And we also look at gambling, because we see Gambling, alcohol and drugs, financial, relationship breakdowns, a lot of those things are what has the major impacts on a lot of the apprentices that we see. And we also explore with them what their rights, but also what their responsibilities are in a workplace and as a worker. So, because they can often tell you what their rights are, but what is their responsibility, so that they have an understanding of, you know, what they've got to give in as well as what they're taking from their employment. We also look at conflict resolution. So what's a healthy way of resolving conflict, especially at work site, and nutrition. And we look at health and well-being, because we know that if we can work on our people's health and well-being, which helps their mental health and well-being, overall we hope that we can assist in lowering those rates of suicide. And we talk about self-care as well. We also bring in suicide awareness. So in Queensland, John delivers Safe Talk as far as the suicide awareness component goes of the Toolbox. And for AusHelp, we are delivering our new course, which is Conversations for Life, which a lot of you have got a flyer in your kit with. And so we talk about emotions, anger management, all of those things, and then we look at goal and pathway planning. So we see all of those as giving them additional skills, what's going to help them, what's going to sustain them, how they're going to be supported to get through their apprenticeship. And so that's what we've been looking at. So as John said, the program's ready to go. We can deliver it in face-to-face or face-to-screen. We've got a Moodle site up and going. We can deliver it flexibly. And it's not, as I said, a deliver. It's we get the guys engaged. We get them doing activities. We do team building as well. And so it's all about how we can build resilience in these young men and women. So thank you very much. If you've got any questions, John and I will be around at afternoon tea. You've also got a flyer, and it's got our contact details on the back. More than happy to talk more or to send you more information if anyone's interested. Thank you.